wrong steps, so it creates these stairs that you cannot step wrong your feet. So we don't want to admire the people only for the people who did something, but if you look in Italy today, which are the people who are admired, especially for nowadays, just for their characteristic of peace, wisdom, balance. So when we have a linear vision of the things, we have the tendency of, okay, I start, I finish my aim, and I continue to the next situation. So we face our life like a test list, and each time we do tasks the lists. So we say, okay, this is done, this I've done, this I've done, this is done, this is done on your list, to-do list. So the priority is what we do, what we create, what we can produce also. The other vision of world is a cyclic vision that brings us to a completely different vision. So when I was about 12 years old, sorry, I didn't understand. Sometimes it's very heavy for us because it looks like that we are turning around. We don't reach to any point, any conclusion in our situation. We are not concluding. We're not complete our tasks. But the difference is in the cyclic reality, the most important thing is not what I do, but who I become in the process. Because, of course, I finish something and then I start in another, with another problem, another situation. Today I did something, tomorrow I will do other things. Sometimes it's going better, sometimes it's going not so well. It doesn't matter. We can try and try, but there is always something that comes back, and this is the cyclic vision. And the most important thing is who we are becoming in the process of what we are doing. This is important what we do, of course, but it's not just an aim in himself, but it's a means to reach, to grow in the process. So, example in my life, so I think to myself, and without going in details, in this life, I think I had already 5 lives in this very lifetime. For every life, I mean, in different contexts. The first time when I changed my life, it was when I was in Brazil and I went to India. I went to live in India. I was 12. And at a certain point, I changed completely all the people, my relationship, the context where I was living, all the things I was doing. It was another life, definitely. And then I start another one, another life. And until now, I think I can count 5 lives of myself. I think that also for ourselves is the same for all the other ones. And the interesting things is that when we are living one particular life, intended not a life from the born date to your death, but in that length of time, looks like that this reality that we are living is unchangeable. We can never change what we are living. But at a certain point, for very different reasons, this reality changed. And what was so solid and so important at the beginning is no more there. People that we were living together, or because the death happens, someone can die, so this reality appears, the person is no more there, or because we are changing the society for our different choices, for very different reasons. The important thing is that even if the situations are changing, and I'm sure that each one of us has lived already so many situations, different situations, we will continue to change. And what I experience transform my being in what I'm today, the person who I became today. Every choice, every action is its own importance. I absolutely don't think that the choices and the actions are not important. Personally, I'm a person who I like to do. I'm a do person. But I realize for myself that all the situation what I'm living, normally we have the tendency to give priority most for the things that are done and not in the way that they are done, in which manner. And how I doing what I'm doing is what determines what is left after the action, the completion of the actions. So many things happens in our life, in a daily life. More people you get related to, the more things are changing and happening. For instance, few days ago happened something to me, most than for myself personally, to the center. And I don't go in the technical details because it's not related to the spiritual part, but more on the material side of life. But someone give us a trick. I mean, they, they trick us the center. So it's something that we have to solve. So you did me something wrong, you sold me something very expensive. Okay, and we don't have to do mystery. In the center of the main gompa there is the column of crystal, and then they sold us this strong kind of crystal of glass as the very strong one, resistant, but was not. And now we have to find a solution because it start to crack. But the point is, now we are going to find a solution. But the point is, what is our tendency in front of someone that they did wrong to us? We have aversion, attraction, or ignorance, or indifference. We have attraction. How did you dare to do? I will ask you to pay all the extra expenses. And what I see that is important, that to see that we have two aspects distinct that we have to consider both. One is the practical side. There is a specific sentence. It's not this like a little glass. It was very quite expensive. We have to do it again. So everybody is responsible for their actions, and so the person who did the job will respond about that. But the other aspect is how do I manage this situation with feeling, with internal attitude I will do with aversion, with anger, with the sense of revenge, or without those. And this is what it makes the difference in absolutely, the absolute difference. Because we have the tendency if someone do something wrong to me, which is my reaction, aversion. But at the end, this aversion is damaging principally me, myself. So the problems are there and need to be solved. They need to be solved. But the way how we face these difficulties is fundamental. The fundamental importance. Otherwise, we give so much importance to solve the problem and complete the various tasks, and we don't take care of what is continuing in time. For instance, I have to reach from this point to the other point, from here to there. The priority is to reach there, but how I reach there is also important. I left safe and here I need to reach there in the same way without bumps on the road. Then there is the internal subjectively experience, how we live the things. Sometimes there are situations that in a practical way they went wrong, but we learned something, a good lesson. We were able to keep the calm, the patience. Normally we could not. And then we saw also part of ourselves and was pleasant to see that we react better than before. So in a practical way, we learn something and we grown up. And so all these experiences are welcome. In other situations, we go from point A to point B, and then we reach there, and then we say, okay, we manage our task, we complete our task, but we are destroyed. Maybe we accumulate hatred, sadness, maybe different traumas on that, so we can say it went wrong, even if the result was there. Only depends totally on ourselves how much we give priority to our attitude. As we say, the middle way is the balance between the different opposites is the best. Because I saw also the other extreme, oh no, no, the most important things are the emotions and the objective things are not important, but there are many practical realities and aspects, practical aspects of life that we need to take care of. So it's a matter of perspectives. When we can see the importance of our emotional state and we understand how we can take care of our feelings, how we can interact with external conditions, slowly we grow in the process. Sometimes we miss this kind of introspection. So in your educative learning process and learning processes, how much there was the importance reserved to this aspect of the emotional life, or just a little or not at all. So the emotional side of the human beings is said, okay, this is your business. Nobody need to teach you. Oh, you have this character, your right personality. You have to take care of yourself. But we can do something that it's a self-learning process and self-learning training. We can do many, many things to live in an emotional state more balanced. And it's a matter to give importance and value to the things. When we can give the right value to that, naturally we can create better our priorities, and when we give some space in our lives dedicated to those practices. Because this make me reflect upon a book which I was reading, a contemporary writer, Yuval Harari. Sorry, I didn't get well the name. There was a point in which they talk about education in the modern time. What is the main subject that the today children, students should learn? What is the main aim, educative aim? So the market, the profession that we have today, tomorrow we don't do. If they can, will be the same, most probably not. So the most important thing of the formation of a person is the building of an emotional stability, because for sure they will have to face many different situations, so they need to have this emotional stability as a base of the education. And we are not talking here about the spiritual point of view, we are talking about that to face the difficulties in life, we need to have a certain degree of emotional stability, and to reach that we need to dedicate some time and space in our lives. It's not something that comes with a snap of a finger. So how do we do to realize that? One of the most important things for me is that when we enter in contact with someone or something or situation or a person, an individual, there is a component inside ourselves of attractions or aversion, of joy or fear, attachment or jealousy. There are any kind of emotions that come together. Although these emotions often, first of all, they are not necessarily coherent with our thoughts. So, for instance, I can say, oh, everything is fine, but inside I feel that it's not so okay. You don't, I can say to myself, I don't need to be jealous, but I am jealous. I can say I should not get angry, but I still get angry. They're just examples. And when these emotions arise, if you can say, no, I don't need to feel this, I don't want to feel this, it's enough. No. So what we do, we pass to another things, and then we just go straight to another thing, another situation. So when we are in a situation, and when I finish that and I pass to another situation, and today, nowadays, is worse because I'm passing from one message to another, and then together with the message come an emotion, then come another, I read another message, then arise another emotion. And in the end, it's like it's come a little bit like the news. It's quite long that I don't watch them on TV, but at a certain point, I can't say when exactly. Perhaps I think about in the 90s, 97, something like that. There was a big change in the news, TV news. Someone who is older can remember better. At a certain point before there was a hierarchy in the news how they were presented. So now looks like this hierarchy is lost. It's lost. So we pass from the king, the royal family, and then we pass to the war, and with the social media, this is more emphasized. We go from the from the cat who jump and the cat and then the war and then anything from one topic to another. What is the problem? Each object, each situation we get in contact as a reaction on our sample, and we don't give even the time to swallow it. We pass to one thing to the other so quickly, like if it's already passed. So I talk with someone that I have attraction. Maybe I miss the person. I have some attachment. Then I see something that I don't like, and comes the aversion. I remember my childhood, and comes maybe some sadness or some joy, and we pass from one thing to another so quickly that we are going to stretch the distance from what we live with our feelings and what we feel inside as a reaction. So this remembers me one time a friend of mine who brought his husband to the doctor. Uh, this person was a great worker. He was traveling. He was a businessman. He was COE. Was 3 day, 1 week in Tokyo, 1 week in New York and Paris and so forth. And the wife, bring him to the doctor. And the doctor asked, "How do you manage your jet lag?" And then he very proudly answered, "I don't feel it even." And and the doctor answered, "You are really not okay." I was talking with the doctor not long ago. A person who is not really feeling the jet lagged anymore means that is very in a bad conditions because it's no more in the contact with this body, and so this is not a good sign, definitely, because what's happened that this happens also on the emotional level. And then we jump from one thing to another during the day, and we don't have the time to digest and work out our feelings, what was going on. Then when theoretically, yes, so much, it's a little bit of space and time, there's so much, a lot of feelings, mixed bag of feelings. Then one open little bit, they said, "Oh no, I don't want to see it." Then he close again, and then he tried to think the person tried to think to other things. So we go in the entertainment industry. One take refuge to watch the life of the other, because to watch the film is something. Maybe we watch the life of other that even they don't exist. So I like very much to see the movies, but I don't see it as something negative, but in reality it's this, to just watch the life of other, some invented character. So we try to annihilate all these feelings because if we have space, some people can use the pleasure of eating or the sex or the use or abuse of any substances or alcohol, something to try not to feel, not to think. But the point is, what is inside, more soon than later, will be manifest. And at a certain point, one explodes with anger, even don't know why, does not know why. And then it comes a very strong sadness, and there is not a particular reason, a peculiar reason. And then I think that one of the reason of this, what is happening, I cannot say it's the only reason, but is the fact that we don't give so much space to elaborate what we live. Doesn't matter. This does not mean that we have to verbalize and journaling and to spend hours to the psychoanalyst. I have the maximum respect for all those professions, but what I think what we need more is to dedicate some time to do nothing, and we allow ourselves to have this space and time empty. And this I remember the words of this great sage Lokeshandra. Lokeshandra is one of the most scholar, the most renowned scholar. He was very old when we met him, and I don't know, probably now he will be 100 years old, almost. He wrote an infinite number of books, like about 100, and also the dictionary. It is a 7-volume of the Buddhist encyclopedia. Wrote when he gave his conference to Borobudur, invited by Lama Gangchen. One of the things that he told it was the importance of the unuseful things. So he explained it in an excellent way, where the essence, for what I remember of it was that what we think is unuseful because it's not productive, not because we are doing something, realizing something concretely. Instead, it's something that helps so much to elaborate our feelings, our emotions, to allows us to digest and distillate the experiences, because if there is no space, it cannot be also movement. If we don't create space inside ourselves, we are not able to see what is inside, and we can't change our feelings. So it's so very important to create space and to give some time and space to digest. And one of the things that to do this, to realize this, and to do something that we allow ourselves to not re-elaborate in the past. We are not projecting ourselves in the future. We are not judging the present. And then one can say, then what is doing? Whatever thing, but the important thing is do something. Maybe walking on the mountain or in the bush, do something artistic, paint, write, or dancing or singing, meditate, pray. There are so many things that we can do that allows us to come back to the present moment. All those activities. I speak about my personal experience or my way of facing the situations. Maybe for someone can function very well, but maybe I can only, maybe it's for other it's not working as well, but I can talk only about myself. But what I realize when we observe more ourselves and we give us space to elaborate our feelings and then observe all those processes of aversion, attraction, indifference. One thing that happens is that there are some moments in which all the emotions that we have inside, they come to the surface, and the reason how in that particular moment this happens, I don't know. There could be many, many reasons. Each time that I feel something and I try to understand, the first question that comes to my mind is why? But then I realized that there is not only one why. For instance, one time I went many years ago to Lama Gangchen and I said, Rinpoche, I'm very sad. It's quite a lot that I'm sad. I have these sad feelings in myself. Rinpoche was always so was much taking care and taking care of any aspects. No, we look what is not that is not going. We can fix it. And then I was thinking for a while before I did the internal list of all the things that I didn't like, but then I imagine one of these solved things and I try to imagine myself how could I feel after. And I realized that this sensation that I have was not connected to any one of the situations. Rinpoche, I have to tell you that what I feel now is something specific. If I have to do the list of the things that I want, things that I would like to be different, it could be a long list, but I didn't. I don't think that depends by this. In Tibetan it says in translation, we wait that the true color is coming out. Or I can say we wait until it's passing, or we can wait until it manifests. But it's better not to go and to point the fingers to one or another, because that's not the point. And then some months were passed, and there was 3 months. I was 3 months to study in Tibet, studying alone and meditating. And then I saw that this sensation was no more there. And after, when again I went to see again all the situation, I could understand better what it was really, from where it was coming, the sadness. But sometimes I wake up and at a certain point I have a feeling of discomfort, inner discomfort. I think this happens to everyone. What we do, for instance, to this morning I wake up with the wrong foot, let's say. Someone says, Lama, I see you are not so okay. Why? We don't know. The truth is that 2 days ago I was so perfect, and nothing special happened in between. All the problems who were there, they continue until today. The beautiful things continue to be also to exist, to be in place. So what I'm doing, I try not to point the finger to someone or something. I try not to take a specific decision moved by attraction or aversions, starting from this feeling, these wrong feelings. Because if I don't feel well and I want to look something that is not okay in a way to find the guilty person of things why I'm not feeling well. And then it's so easy for me, for instance, everybody or for everybody. The problem is I can go against those things, but at a certain point these bad feelings continue, but I need to face all these bad situations that I create, and there are consequences. And for instance, I saw some people that fight together and the other fight because they don't feel good in yourself. That moment finished, but then you have ruined one relationship. And then this reminds me, this Brazilian disciple that he decided when he came back from home, he has the tendency to throw all the tension from the workplace to the family. And then he went the telephone to the wife and say, okay, I will come back from my job, but you don't wait for me for the dinner. Normally, he said. Then he said, okay, I go in the garage, I park my car, and I sit there until I leave my job behind. And then he said, sometimes you need to stay there 2 hours. But these 2 hours were very precious. Doesn't mean that in that work day many things happens and he couldn't not have the time to digest all those emotions. Also in the physics we say the energy is not creating, it's transforming. And the tension is a form of energy. If I have this tension inside me, I have to throw it out somehow. I have to transform it in something. If I'm not aware of this, I throw on the people, I damage other people. And so could be worse. So in those 2 hours that we don't do nothing, they become very precious. Or like another Brazilian friend, she's a lawyer. She was lawyer of an airway company, the Varig, who was bankrupt, and she has to work all the trials, and it was a hell of a job. It was the hell of a job. Every day was so extremely tiring and stressful. And she was living far from the city where she was working, so to reach her home, she need to drive 1 hour and a half about. And then she said this was the most beautiful part of the day. She just drove behind the lorry drivers, and she put the Dharma teachings. She was listening to those, and then she could have 1 or 2 hours only for herself, completely dedicated. She could relax, and so when she reached home, she didn't throw out, she didn't carry all this weight. And then she has the son, the husband, the children, the parrot, and then all those things need to do other kind of job, a second job, let's say. And for instance, also some people who say that in Milano there is no traffic, they don't know São Paulo. And so we need to learn those precious moments, those pauses, and then we have to do something for ourselves in an objective way. We can, digest and distillate all the emotions and transform them and watch them first. And someone can say, but how can I do? What I believe, I think that we have a magic tool, which is the agenda, the diary. It's strange, this tool, because you write there and you have to do it once it's written. For many years, I didn't want to use it, a daily planner, because I have the feeling that I had less freedom. But the truth is that I have to do so many things that I need to organize my time. I have to say I'm not the best user of the diary, but the planner, but it's like a kind of magic tool. Anyway, I'm slowly doing better. If we use the philosophical attribution, we say it's the attribution of the name, the philosophical attribution. We write there, and then it's there. It's something existent. So we have to create space, give time. We have to give physical space and temporary space to relax, to have some moments where we meditate, or we go to have a walk, or we do something where the artistic expressions, not because just we have to do to train ourselves and then I go to the gym and I watch the news and talk with someone on the phone or have a call meeting, video conference, whatever. No, just empty space. But because there is also another thing I remember when I came in Milano after 12 years in India, I came to live in Italy. At a certain point, I realized that I start to say, I don't have time. And in a certain way, to say, I don't have time, it was a little bit something like there is, if you want to be someone, you have to be without time. You say, I don't have time, and I feel a little bit proud of that. Means I was busy. And then at a certain point, I watch myself and I say, it's not true that I don't have time. When I realized this mental dynamic to need to feel the space as soon as we have something empty, we have to feel it. Not because we have to do those things, because it's a duty, because I have the habit to feel any empty space. At a certain point, I said to myself, I have all the time. The earth turns around herself. I go to sleep. We have 24 hours, as I have. You also have the time I have. But then the question is, what are my priorities? Do you want to do that? Do you have time? No, because I gave priority to other things. All of us, we have time. The question is, which are the priorities that we want to have in our lives? Because at the end, it's like this. So it's up to us, each one of us, to choose. Because I see several people, I want to learn how to meditate. It's so important, it's beautiful. Also in the Western world, this kind of on fashion to meditate. That's perfect from some aspects. But the point is to meditate well. First of all, we have to give consistency. If we take also the very ancient instructions of meditation, what we say is the first things that we have to do is decrease the distractions. But if I'm going from all day running between one things and another, I take 15 minutes, I place there my watch and I meditate. It's not working. What do you think? Someone come 100 kilometers per hour and then can stay still for 15 minutes and then start again? No. According to me, no. If someone has this capacity, he or she has my respect. Or we are so flexible that we are used to go into the meditative space. Otherwise, this is one option. Otherwise, we need to create a space. I remember the first retreat I did for 6 weeks, dedicating 12 hours a day to the meditation. Don't see other people in the between, in the pause, in the breaks. I was reading Papunka Rinpoche, the Lamrim. And then when I start to, my sensation was that it was at the end of the retreat, like if I've just started. That's why we do the 3 years retreat. But the point is, we have to choose ourselves. If we go around, we always come back to the same point, which is the question, what I want. Because we can be honest to ourselves. No one of us is doing something that they don't like. Why I don't meditate? Why I don't dedicate too much time, so much time to the meditation? The truth of the answer is because I don't want. I don't give space because in the deep of myself, I don't want. This reminds me Alfredo, who was the director of the World Bank. Then he told me about one of his colleagues, and then when he was working in the USA, once in a year they have to do a complete check-up of their job, their activities. And they do all the, they check up, the medical check-up between one meeting and another, was very busy, and then he received a telephone call from the hospital. He did the medical checkup. They say, sorry, it's a little bit delicate situation. You have to put in. Looks like there was a sentence of a death. Then he said, no, I'm sorry to say, but you have a tumor, extensive tumor. We cannot do nothing for you. You have only 3 months of life maximum. If someone comes to tell me this, I go to another doctor. But I think it's quite shocking to receive this news. What he was doing, he cancelled all the meetings, and then he said, stop. I stop everything. Then he programmed to talk with his son. It was a long time he didn't listen. Start to take the books he never read before, and he start to live his life with awareness that sooner or later the life is finishing, and to give priority to the things of the moment of that period. After this, he was almost the courage, was generating the courage to call the son. And then he received a call from the president of the hospital. Sir, we are very sorry, we are concerned, but we have a case of anonymity, and we exchanged the exams. Your health is completely, you are completely healthy. So the books went back on the bookshelves. He didn't call the son, and he started with the same life than before. He started again. So I always ask myself, which are my priorities in life? And then I can say in any way that I'm so grateful to have this experience, that I have this summer. And when I have this allergic reaction in the summer, for me was a wonderful experience. I didn't want to say about the pain, the physical pain. It's not this, but looking back about the situation that I live, I said, wow, I'm immortal. I'm mortal. I can die in any moment. And this, how we can translate this in words, that I need to live coherently and to follow the things which are really, really important. I have to review which are my priorities. Fortunately, for my fortune, my priorities erano, they were they were already set up. Maybe I have to adjust some priorities. I need to take to reset our directions, and sometimes something happen in life that wakes us up. It's not that the alarm comes, and sound, and then we switch off the alarm, and we continue on the same way. Or when we see the red flags, or in any situations we don't want to see them, so we have to feel all the messages that we receive, and also stop ourselves to think and ask ourselves where I'm going, what I really want in life. And also, a few months ago, I was in Brazil with my grandfather for some times. It was a long time that I didn't went to visit him. And being close to a very old person, now he's 99, And someone watch the body and say, the body degenerates, also mine is degenerating. I don't know if there is someone here that has less than 25, only one. Maybe 2, 3, under 25 years old. And from all the others, the aging process already starts. We start after 25 years old, the aging process. And how many hopes we have that our body will stay strong, healthy, and beautiful. With the passing of the years, the body is losing its abilities. And then before, just joking, I would say I don't have the right age, but now I can see really. You still 40, someone can say, but I can say between 41 and 20, there is a difference. Imagine that me for many years I came to the Kunpen. I stay here until 1 o'clock, and then early morning I was there early morning to work in Albagnano, already efficient. Now I can't do anymore. What I want to say, the body degenerates, naturally degenerates. And Rinpoche useful says it's our worst friend, because we give, and then it's going back. Okay, we need to take care of the body and our health, of course, but what is happening is how we get old, how we aging. It depends from the experience that we live, how we live internally all these experiences, and this makes a big difference. Who I want to be when I'm an old person, how I want to be when I will be old. And this depends from the choices that I do today, and what we do today, I don't know, determines the future. I remember many choices that I did when I was a child that influenced me until now. All the experiences that we live in the childhood, they does not have to do nothing for our adult life. It's not like that, because we continue to say, oh, that time when I was a child. Why? Because our world view, it's forming in that when we are in the childhood, then we can transform it, but still influence us. And in essence, what I want to say is that if we are not able to give the right priorities, we will have the tendencies to follow our habits. The inertia of our choices, and the other is the inertia of the cultural and social context where we live, because when we are a child, we go to school. The form of the structure of the school, not maybe everywhere the same, but in the European context, an example, it's a solid preparation. Why? To get ready to be seated in an office for 8 or 10 hours. Because if you take someone that is working in the fields and they say, "Oh, I will let you do a very relaxing job because you are sitting for hours at the desk," and then the guy could say, "No, I'm not able to do that." Because we are formed in this way from the public institution, scholastic institution. And then there was a terrible question when we say to the child, what you will do when you are grown up. And then I look to the people when to say, but are you crazy? Are you silly? Which kind of questions? What I will do when I'm a grown-up person? What I can know now? I don't know. I should have been around 10 years old when they put me in these questions, but the point is that if the sense of the life is what is your profession, will be your profession. So not who you will be when you will be an adult, but in other words, they want to ask which job you will do when you will be an adult, which profession. So I don't have nothing against the professions and the jobs, but we pass from the childhood, we study, and we finish, and we start to work, everything, and then we go in a loop, in a kind of inertia that comes from the society. We work to go on holiday, then finish the holidays, and we start again, and we start again, and year after year, our life is passing. So from one side, there is this inertia, and from the other side, there is the inertia of the tendency that we have. Let me find the right words. To relax ourselves, to create a comfort zone in the discomfort area. I don't know if I did explain myself well. In other words, it's like, if you like to say, even a sickness. Not all the sicknesses, and not for everybody, but I think that this can happen, that you are happy because you are a little bit sick. You have a cold, for instance. When I got the COVID, I said, "Oh, so nice, 13 days at home." And then I have a very beautiful life. I go to the center. I like the people which I meet. I love what I'm doing. But 13 days or 14 days, oh, only for myself. I can read my books and do something. Then I didn't count the fact that with the COVID, my head was out of set, and then I could not do as much as I would have liked to do. But this was the first impression, no? Because anyway, there is this sort of inertia. That's why from one side there is the inertia, and from the other side there is this relax ourselves in a comfort zone in a reality that is not beneficial for us. For instance, a relationship between two people, that husband and wife, or parents and children. I know that when I have certain behaviors that are not good for myself and from others, I receive from yourself a reaction that I don't like to receive, a bad reaction. I react with aggressivities, and you are nice to me anyway. So if I want to receive that kindness, what I do? I will reply with aggressivities. No, no, nothing happened. Don't worry. Is it okay? So what is happening is that from one side there is the inertia, and from the other side there are some aspects of things that we don't like, but in a certain way we get acquainted to them. So somehow we create a comfort zone in those behaviors. And also because sometimes we see the solution as more suffering and painful than the situation itself. I have to change. No, no, I'm already like that. Like that. A classical example for me is like eating. At a certain point, I was not feeling so well with my digestive system and so forth. At a certain point, it came out that I'm intolerant to lactose. Lactose. So how can I don't eat the cheese, especially the mozzarella? We live in Italy. Come on. And then when I go to Brazil, there is the queijo Minas, is another excellent pão de queijo. How can I go to Brazil and don't eat the pão de queijo, the cheese bread? At the end of the thing, it's not so difficult, but there I need to turn a key, which was the question, why I'm eating, because if I could never eat, it could be wonderful. Imagine how it could be wonderful not to eat. You don't have to worry about the food, go for shopping, cooking, wash the dishes, digest everything. What is included in the eating? It's a lot of actions and time. If I could avoid it, I would be happy. But why I'm eating? Why? Because I need. I eat because I need, so the logic says I I should eat what I like or what I need. What I need. And the logic is that. So these things I like, but it's harmful to me. But I like it. Doesn't matter. Because if we start to give us some discount, we don't finish. This is what I saw in myself. I don't know about yourself. But eating for me was a clear example to take clear decision of what is harmful to us and what is beneficial. What is beneficial to me, I do it. What is harmful, I don't do. It's so simple. And that is a question to have like two strands together. One force is a deep affection for ourselves, and from the other side to be strong and determinate in ourselves. Because the affection towards ourselves brings us to don't to go into the guilty feelings, oh, I'm a very bad person, I did wrong, or victimize myself, but to accept myself and at the same time to be firm and say this I don't have to do and this I have to do. But how many things we know that are beneficial to us and that we don't like to do? Myself, why we don't do? Maybe there is some external force, or simply we don't want. Some external force then impels us to do, or simply we don't want. So that's why we always have to go back to the question, what I want. And if I want, beside all the things that I want to do, besides all the material aspects of the profession, of the job, the money, the family, many human relationship that we could have, everything is fine. But who I want to be for myself, in myself, and from myself with the world. This is one of the most important questions that we have to ask ourselves. Which kind of person I would like to be today, tomorrow, who I would like to be in front of my own death in any moment when it will come. I want to be a wrathful person or a calm and patient person. I would like to be a person or in front of a person of a bad situation freaks out or it's breathing and take control, keep the control of the situations. Or I want to ignore the suffering, a person who ignore the suffering, or I can accept this suffering myself, recognize it and try to deal with it just as examples. But if I like to be a person who is patient, lovely, I have to cultivate this side of myself in my actions and my way of being and interact. But I need to give space to that. I'm sure that each one of us here has his own trauma and stories, and each one of us they have some. But we have to create a space to go and sit without use the psychology or the philosophy and say why I did this, why is that, what is the reason. Okay, this is good, certain analysis, but principally is the fact to create space and to allow ourselves that when we are doing something that we are not doing nothing, looks like we're doing nothing, it's very important for us. And you can see the difficulties to sit and just breathe. It's so difficult, no? It's quite difficult. But I'm not asking you to do nothing. You just sit there and breathe. You don't have even to think to anything else. You don't have to do nothing, practically speaking. You don't have to move even yourself. You don't have to move. Just sit and stay there. Breathe. It is tiring. Is it tiring? Yeah, yes, it is. Often, yes. Why? Because our mind is like a muscle that gets used to what we train it. And we are always following an object or sensorial object or mental options, and we are only following. And when we don't do that, we are like we are missing. Like, for instance, a person who has an addiction. What is the path to liberate the person from his addictions? Don't be anymore in contact with the object of dependence, of addiction, to face all this strength that you need to see, okay, I could have the occasion, but I need to have the strength to resist. It could be dependence to alcohol or drugs or chocolate or watch the phone, the cellular phone. There are so many forms of addiction. But if I have an addiction for someone and I don't want to follow it, I should become able to be without. And then when I'm in difficulties, I can be without. And then we try to meditate at the beginning. In reality, it's like if you go against an addiction, the addiction to sensorial stimuli, because we create the habit to run with our mind, to jump from one thing to another, and we are constantly projected outside. So when we sit in the meditation, we are doing the exact opposite. At the beginning, it's very tiring, but it's something that gradually we should repeat, slowly, and slowly we get better in that. And something that is an advice which is important. Sometimes I have the sensation that when we talk about the meditation, this state of presence, are we entered in meditation or concentration, and then we are going to apply the same attitude to do. Okay, now I have to meditate. I don't have to think nothing, and I have to control myself, and we force ourselves. I have to force myself to stay there. Don't think to anything else. We force ourselves to relax. Is it working? No. The meditative state is when one allows himself or herself to rest your mind in the object, for instance, the breath. I rest my mind in an image that I'm going to visualize. I rest my mind in something specific where I'm going to relax from my distractions. I'm going to rest the mind in that. It's a completely different attitude. But when we repeat this again and again, slowly, we create the habit to create an inner point of referment, and we allow ourselves to stay in ourselves without external stimuli. And when I remember one time I reached to Madrid in Spain, and I was there for the Congress. It was one of the few moments, rare moments, where I was alone. I took the metro from the airport to the city. 7 years ago, before there was the roaming, the free roaming in Europe, there was 40 minutes in the metro. I sit, the first thing I did, I took with my hand the cellular phone. Why? I don't know really. But the reality was that it was an habit. And secondly, the necessity to do something. I have to do something. I have to do something. And at a certain point, I took the phone. I didn't want to put it on, and I realized, I said, but what am I doing? And then, please observe your breathing, recite a mantra, observe the landscape outside, enjoy your free moment until you reach there. I did, but I need to put a certain effort to force myself. It was not so spontaneously. And this was the first time I realized the addiction to those objects, such as the cellular phone. But the dependencies to the physical, the sensational stimuli, external stimuli. And then I have this, I say, how it was really nice. And sometimes when we are going around, a classical situation is that two people are talking, and one of the two is going to the toilet. And how does it take until the person take the cellular phone? Maybe from 3 seconds to half second, because now the cellular a little bit like the guns in the Far West, they're always ready in the pocket. And then also we don't know why, we cannot understand. And also we read the messages, we are not so happy, we complain about this, the news are not so wonderful. But there is this sort of addiction to the external sensations. So they're all activities where our energy is going out, is projected outside. We have an external reality, yes. We have the situation that we live, the people with whom we interact, but nobody can deny the fact that we have subjective reality, internal reality. How much is the weight of this internal reality in our life? I would say it has a very heavy weight. What's happening when the external situations is very complicated for many aspects, but one inside is happy or joyous. So it means that the situation is quite light. Yes, I can manage, I can deal with it. But when one is really sick because it has its own sadnesses, or is angry with the world or with himself, or yes, anyway, this anger inside, and even does not know where it's coming from, once does not know, and then it manifests in anxiety. Then is the moment that even if when everything is going okay, perfectly, we leave it bad. We are not able to live happily the situation. So our internal reality and the way in how we watch the world as an extreme is extremely important, and that's why we need to take it care. And there was a theory, I don't know how much is right or wrong, and I was searching for that, but I could not find anymore, so I can say where it was, whether I read it. Probably they took it out. But there was this concept that made me reflect. It was the Schumann resonance. And then was this scientist, Schumann, in the 19th centuries, that discovered that the Earth has its own frequency. And today is something scientific and scientifically tested and proved. So what do they say? That the frequency of the planet is the same of the brain waves. And also they say that then when the first astronaut went out of the terrestrial orbit, they need to recreate the same frequencies, otherwise this astronaut, they should have problems, because was like what was missing was a kind of metronomus that put them in sync, the two vibration of the heart and the brain. Then from the 80s, the speed of these frequencies of the planet increased, but the human was not increasing. So biologically speaking, it's like that 12 hours per day, today become like 16. So the logic behind this is that if the planet in 1 hour it's beating for 20 times, but I can beat only 400, I'm always backwards and I'm not able to complete all the cycle. So it's like the hours and the time, how we live it and experience it, they are not enough, they are too less. And what is the sensation that comes from that? The solution, sorry, is not try to run more, but to go slower. Because when we watch the waves, the frequency waves, to go on the same frequencies, I have to diminish the frequencies, so slow it down so I can catch it back again. So what I was reflecting walking on the mountain, and was talking with an engineer, we were talking about frequencies, and it comes to my mind that we are living in an age where I have a strong sensation that the more I do the things slowly, the more I can able to do it. The more we try to run, and more there is this sensation to be on a tapis roulant, and one is running, you sweat a lot, but you reach nowhere. The more I could say to myself, okay, we do one thing at a time. I take these things, I finish, I watch it, and then I start another, and the better is for us. I have the sensation that we need to slow down our speed. It is something that we can do, but we have to do it with a certain awareness. And so I watch observing myself, then sometimes the speed takes over, becomes faster. And there was a period where I go so often from Albagnano to Milano, and there was a moment when I enter Milano. It was very clear there is a point in the highway when you start to come from the city, coming from Milano. On the right there is a prison, and I remember each time I pass there, each time I reach there, I feel like that my thinking process was becoming faster. And so I try to make an effort to say, no, I have to come to keep myself on a low frequency. But we are so influenced by the world that we have around. But it depends on ourselves, at what speed we like to live and how we like to do our things. Because we come back to the beginning point, the main point, to do things very fast. First of all, we bring, to an epidemic of anxiety, of depression, and it's not a joke. All the quantity of anti-anxiety, it's enormous, no? The drugs that they sell for the anxiety. We don't talk so much, but I think this should be taken in consideration more seriously in society. At the end, we become like that. Because when we run too much, one cannot watch more inside himself because he's running at the speed of the things that is doing outside, the things that the person is doing outside himself or herself. So we need to give the space to digest and elaborate what we have and to relax ourselves. To relax ourselves, not in the example that I did before. I ran and then I stop 15 minutes. How? With all the tension. To relax. No, I mean when one can really allow himself or herself to slow down, stop, and then at a certain point one can start the normal activities much better than before, actually. But I remember, I insist on this point. For whatever we are living nowadays, there is nothing new that we are not here to teach something. The most is a process to review together all the things that we already know, but that we often forget. It is important for us to remember and to bring back the attention to of these points in our daily lives. One time I was talking with my mother, which is a psychologist. It comes in my mind the question, what is the main difference between Buddhism and psychologists? Because also in the West, the Buddhism was it's studied from the psychological point of view. And I read one definition when it said because in the West there is the theist religion and monotheist religion, and the Buddhism is not one nor the other. And then in our path we have to also offer service to the other and work on himself. But one of the main points who came out because there are so many different schools of thoughts inside the Buddhism. Or we can talk about psychology in general because all the different schools, Buddhist schools, present very different visions. But the main thing is the fact that we can educate ourselves emotionally. The fact is that if I have a certain kind of emotions that reiterate themselves and comes back, if I get often angry or have so much sadness or guilty feelings or whatever else, the fact is that we can induce ourselves to develop the antidote or to diminish one and decrease one attitude, one person. We can educate ourselves. And then someone is asking to me, oh, but where I have to start? You start giving importance to become aware. The first absolute step is what we ask ourselves. What is the importance that we give to our subjective and internal perception and life, and so also in the life of other people where we come to interact? Lower, medium, or high, or absolute? I would say from the very high and the absolute, but I could not say absolute because there are many other aspects together, the body and many other situations that comes together. So we cannot say absolute, but our inner perception is so important. It's a very high level, and we have to give importance. We have to give value to that. It's not a silly thing. And then the life is passing and we don't give importance to those aspects, then they become a problem. And I have a personal theory, which I'm convinced, and then maybe other people has the same, but I didn't see any other way, anywhere else, so could be wrong or right. So I didn't dedicate so much time to 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 structure it well. But my idea is that our system of body or mind is always try to go to a balance, always try to bring us to a balance point. And when there is something that is not working, then we have these red flags that we are, or some alarm that is sounding somewhere. When we have some symptoms, if it's the body, some pains, and then when our mind and our emotions have some aspects like wounds, inner wounds, and some unbalanced feelings and aspects, so we do something so they can come out. If I have sadness and then I pretend that it's not there, sooner or later it will appear. If I have a deep sense of abandonment, even if I have around me living the most beautiful person and they love me, I still have the sense of abandonment. Yes, I will have. And the thing is that we are unconsciously creating some situation to go in touch with those wounds, with those inner worlds and those unsolved situation and unbalanced situation that we don't want to see, because there is a part of ourselves that come to say, you have to see what is there. If you have an inner wound, you have to heal it. So our inner reality, if we don't take care, it will continue to manifest, but we need to accept and give priority to that process. In the opposite case, otherwise the life is passing, we continue to victimize ourselves because our tendency, habitual tendency is the same. I'm sorry if I insist in this point, but this is one of the first things that we have to do. And as Buddhist or not Buddhist, doesn't matter. We have to stop to victimize ourselves. It's not easy. Sometimes I catch myself and I say, but what you're doing? There is a situation, I don't live it well. It's your fault. Yes. Okay, it's true that we live in an interdependent reality. In each action brings result. When I interact with you, all this has an influence on me also. But how I'm going to live it, the situation, this depends on me. And the moment in which we stop to victimize ourselves is the moment in which we take the reins of our life in our hands. But here we have two important points. One is not victimize yourself, and the other is, how can I say, don't relax too much inside a comfort zone in a discomfort area or inside the comfort zone. For instance, if I talk about myself and I saw that several times, I relaxed myself in the comfort zone of intelligence on certain topics or a good predisposition on those activities. And then I say, why should I study? Because anyway, I'm able to do. If I think in the past, if I watch my past, I see that I lost so many occasions. Because was at the time of the exams, anyway, I was brilliant, but I could have studied and memorized more things, but I didn't do. And I didn't do for pure laziness. And because when you study in the monastery, the fundamental things is the memorization. When you memorize a text, you have inside yourself a wonderful tool that you can use to get in contact and remember all the other topics and headlines. And then we have the summary of the condensed form. Bigini italiano. We called root texts. For instance, la Bia Samaglia Lankara, which is a test. Just to give you an idea, in the first year you take 1 year to study it, and then 7 years to complete the text. But in few words, an enormous quantity of meanings and concepts. So one is memorizing the root text, and then each time you can go back. And in philosophy, you have to study all the definition, the classifications, and then what's happened when you go on that topic, you know, you recite the text that you have memorized, and that box of knowledge is opening. I didn't memorize completely what I have to do. Why? For pure laziness. And then why? Because I relax myself in a comfort zone. And I create a comfort zone on the fact that on those topics I was anyway brilliant in the exam, so I don't need to go much deeper to study it too much to get results, good results. So for us it's important to have relaxation, but don't relax too much in the comfort zone, because sometimes we need something that pushes us out of the comfort zone. Also in other times we create a comfort zone in a state which is unhealthy or not so beneficial, but in that state of not so well, like emotional in the relationships. We do an example for a relationship in a couple or in a job, in a profession, with a friend, with a relative. At a certain point, the relationship is optimal. Then we start a little crisis here, and then another conflict there. But it's not so bad. It doesn't matter. Then one anyway creates one comfort zone in something that is not so comfortable. But then I have to fix the problem. No, it's too heavy. And then the people, they say, okay, they don't start to talk too much. You pretend that nothing happens. And the point is not even to talk, but you have to put some energy to change the situation and to face the conflict, to solve the problem. And then we create these comfort zones, and when we have to face the problem, it's too heavy. And so we create this comfort zone to relax in those. And then sometimes it's good to come out of the comfort zone and says, okay, I like to do something different. And the life spontaneously sometimes presents us this kind of a situation. So from one side, we should not victimize ourselves, and on the other end, we should not relax too much in the comfort zone, but we still need to have joy, relax, and be well. And then we also have an objective to go further, to become better person. So just to conclude this, there is absolutely, we don't have to go absolutely in the process to judge and point the finger, why this is this, why I should not have been like that, but look how I finished my life, I should not do this, I should have done that. I don't know if you come in contact with these situations. If someone comes and says, but you should not be like that. Someone come to say to us, you should not be like this. My answer will be, I'm sorry, but I am like this. But you should not. It's okay. Okay, if you think that is not good because I'm like that, try to explain me why I'm not okay, and I try to change. But in this moment, I am like that. I always remember the day when I told often this situation. I took the drone. I used for the first time. I took a picture and from the top, and for the first time, I watch I watch my head little bit becoming bold. It looks like the helicopter place. And then the first time I realized, I say, oh, I was surprised because the first time that you see this is not so pleasant. And then I say, immediately after, I say, it's okay. I have to accept. Otherwise, what is the option? I can do a transplantation of hair. I don't know even if they exist. I think so. I can find a kind of magical lotion to try to regrow my hair. I try to shave my head every day so you don't see so much. Or I can say, oh, it's my natural process of life. I'm alive and everything is fine. Okay, I accept myself. But I don't have nothing against the transplantation of the hair or other things. I'm not against. I'm against to feel repented. They say, "Oh, I'm so bad. I should not be like that. Look how many people they have so many hair and I don't have what they did wrong. Why I'm like that is the fault of my father, my grandfather, my grandfather, and we try to spend our lives in crying and victimize ourselves. So in the present moment, in all its characteristics, it should be accepted with affection, with presence, with maturity and dignity. And then I can choose where I want to direct myself. Okay, I like very much I want to do this transplantation. Okay, I will do, but I project myself in that future. My attitude is I don't care, I don't bother about that. My image how I appear aesthetically, externally, is something that is a question. It's a subject that I don't care so much. Even if I open one bracket and I close, I remember when I was a child, I was taking jokes about the people who give importance to their hair. So in India, people talk about okay, their dress. Then I say, oh, but my cat was not so okay. And that day I was going to at the barber shop, and at the half of the shaving, I went to this. The machine was broken. The shaver was broken. So I have to go out in the road with half hair head shaved and half not, and the inner feeling of discomfort. And then I have to face myself. I said, sorry, but when you say that you should not care about external appearances, so now what's happened? You should not say like this, and then I have to face myself, and then I accept anyway. But as soon as I found the working machine, I shaved myself completely. But even if I didn't shave my head completely, there was the proud to say, "Oh, look, I didn't shave completely my hair," and like the person who feels superior because to another, yeah, we do some strange jokes, superior to another, if someone feels superior to another. And then the point is to accept the present moment and to direct ourselves towards what we want. And we have to understand that in life, sometimes things are working, sometimes they're not working, sometimes we start and we finish, sometimes, anyway, situations are finished. But the important thing is not what we do, but who we are becoming. This is the most important things because we have to say the truth. The problem, anyway, soon we are dying. So, but the problem is not to die, but how we live. This opportunity that we have now at a certain point, as we know it now, it will finish and everything is fine. What is not okay if we don't take care of the things that continue. Everybody has his own problems, and the problems should be solved and faced and solved. But I think each one with a lot of affection for ourselves, love for ourselves, we have to accept, and we stop to victimize ourselves. And the key point is the sincerity with ourselves. Last week we talked about this. I repeat something that I said the previous week and the last week and the previous week. Then each time, and then also this morning was thinking, I have to remember that thing. I could give you all the justification how I didn't remember this point that I want to bring. But so the sincerity with ourselves is fundamental, to try to give the at best our priorities, and then we can use many tools such as meditation. There are so many things that we can do, but the most important thing for us is to give the right direction. Because what is worrying me sometimes that we start from in a spiritual context, we start to follow a path. At the beginning, it has a spiritual direction to transform ourselves for the better, and at a certain point, it is coming no, something like another context where we have to project our attachment and mental poison. I don't know if this is clear. So this is what we have to be very careful. I always come back to certain points because there are certain things which I'm somehow allergic to those. One is that we lose the in Tibetan is called chotrik. We lose the meaning of what we are doing. And because they speak about the leather container where they keep the butter, and then after a long time, whatever butter you put inside, the leather is not more absorbing the butter. And this is bring as an example, because when someone receiving so many teachings, and the person is living this as a tool in himself, I mean, an instrument from himself, and then is not, we don't have never, we don't have to forget the sacred imagine, the meditation, the philosophy, the mantra recitation. All these tools are in our toolbox, but the absolute priority should be to watch them. I just want they're only means and not the objective. So we have to ask ourselves what I'm doing, what I like to be, what are my priorities, where I want to reach, but with a lot of affection and love for ourselves, without a sense of we don't have to beat ourselves for that. We really have to have kind feelings and loving feelings. Okay, let's do a little step in that direction. We try to create a little bit more space in our planning time, in our agenda, and we leave an empty space with this moment which we create space for ourselves, and we are not doing nothing, and we have to remember that we are doing something extremely important for us, of extremely importance. So if we leave ourselves, we live moved by our inaction and our habits. And the very last thing, we have to say to ourselves that we can make it. Personally, if I didn't believe, I should not come here to teach and do these teachings. I like it very much, of course, but the main reason to come is because I believe in that. Because if you want to have just fun, we have many other kind of enjoyments, and we are not here also for a kind of intellectual fun where we nourish our ego about an intellectual elaboration, which also I like. And then we go in the most detailed explanations. I studied in that way, but it's not this the point. That's why for us it's fundamental our sincerity with ourselves and to keep our direction. And so now we do the dedications for today.